War Eagle. From schedule releases to football game day, we have all you'll need to know in the latest of Auburn sports. I'm Casey Cooper.
And I'm Erica Giustiniano, and this is Tiger Tally on Eagle Eye TV.
Women's volleyball went 2 for 3 in the Active Ankle Challenge over the weekend. The Tigers' biggest win came against Louisville, where they won the match 3-2. Over the weekend, Auburn combined for 143 kills, 133 aces, 176 digs, and 48 blocks. In addition to just football, students got a look at the new student ticket policy. The policy allows students to use only their own Ignited card and states that IDs will be checked. The policy change also limits students to just 4 ticket transfers per season and now includes guest passes. Hear what some students are saying about the policy now that it's in action.
They didn't check my ID, they just checked my Tiger card and they just scanned it. They didn't even look at the picture really.
I think that it causes it to take longer for everybody to get into the stadium with them checking to make sure that the picture matches the people's face. And also it makes it to where if you have out-of-state friends come in and visit, they can't sit with you in the student section, which is kind of a bummer.
When you gave them your Ignited card, they would look at your face and look at the card and make sure you were definitely the same person, and then they'd scan it. And I heard that if you didn't look like the card, you would have to show them your driver's license to confirm who you were.
I mean, I get where they're coming from. They want to keep non-students out of the student section. I get it, that makes sense, but the way they've done it makes it difficult for us to sell tickets. You can just say hey, borrow my Ignited card and pay me $20 and you can go to the game. I don't care, just give it back later. That's pretty easy compared to this whole online system.
Guest passes, which are new to the policy, require Auburn students to transfer a guest pass to another student. Those guest passes can be picked up on Thursdays before the selected game between 9 and 1 at the arena ticket office, along with the guest pass fee. Guest pass fees vary game to game. Well, I don't know about you, but I feel like this is really difficult just to get a friend to come along with a game.
Yeah, my friend's not a student here, but he's a big Auburn fan, and just to not be able to bring him to my games because guest passes are always out, it's just unfortunate. We'll be right back with more on Auburn sports. You're watching Tiger Tally on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.
Why is America safer today when we travel or go to busy places?
Because detection technology developed at Auburn turns K9s into a powerful first line of defense.
Why are some accomplishments more meaningful than others?
Because for me, the best trophy is the one that fulfilled a promise to my mother.
Why does the Auburn family believe in and support our university?
Why?
Why?
Why? Because this is Auburn.
Gosh, Darlene, it sure is amazing how much we have in common.
I know, Larry. We both love 3-car pileups. We both were built in Buffalo.
And we both know wearing safety belts helps save thousands of lives.
Yeah, this is fascinating.
Don't mind Vince. He's getting over a bad breakup.
I know. Janet's picking up the pieces, too. They're in here.
I wish they understood it's all worth it to get people to buckle up.
Hey, lacerated lovebirds, I sense a major crush.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
Talk about head over heels.
Auburn soccer was back in action over the weekend. Despite having possession for most of the game, the Tigers couldn't find the back of the net against USC in the final game of the Auburn Soccer Classic.
Auburn soccer was back in action against USC Sunday night to close out the Auburn Soccer Classic. Number 21 ranked Auburn fell to USC 2-0 after a highly physical and intense game. USC had 17 shots on goal, while Auburn ended the night with 13 shots, 8 of which were on target. Auburn goalie Sarah LeBeau only had 2 total saves throughout the night. Auburn started the game strong with 4 shots, however, it was USC striking first in the 25th minute. The other USC goal came in the 76th minute off of a corner kick. From the beginning, the game was a physical battle. Auburn ended the night with 11 fouls, USC tallied 9 fouls also. There were 5 total yellow cards given out throughout the game. USC received 2 cards while Auburn had 3 cards, one of which went to Coach Karen Hoppe in the second half. Fans packed the stands to watch their Tigers. Albee made an appearance on the sidelines during the match. Fans also cheered on the Tiny Tigers soccer team as they escorted the college players onto the field and later played a mini-match at halftime. The Tigers returned to the field on Friday, September 9th against Vanderbilt at the Auburn Soccer Complex. For Eagle Eye Sports, I'm Sarah Palczewski.
Soccer has yet to score a goal in all of its losses this season. They will look to put up a winning record this Friday against Vanderbilt at 6 and again on Sunday against Baylor at 2. The 2016-2017 men's basketball schedule has been released. Here's a preview of what's to come this basketball season when it tips off in November. For full schedule visits, visit auburntigers.com. Among other schedule releases, softball has released its fall schedule. Here's what's to look forward to in October. Excited to see more Auburn sports getting back to play. We'll be right back with more on Auburn sports. You're watching Tiger Tally on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.
I hope that you've been able to learn a strong work ethic surrounded by character, integrity, perseverance, so that when your 1 second comes, you'll be prepared for it.
Chris Davis. 45. There goes Davis.
Your 1 second, our 1 second is now. And our lives have been guided by the principles of one of the greatest academic institutions in the country, Auburn University.
Auburn football fans flooded the plains over the weekend to get ready for Auburn football season opener.
All right, Tiger fans, get your hands up for Bodegetta. That's right, it's officially game day here on the plains. Hundreds of fans are already tailgating, many more to come, and kickoff's still several hours away. I had a chance to go around and see how some Tiger fans are preparing for tonight's game.
Tents going up, Albee inflatables out, plenty of games and good food. Tailgating is back. Hear what Tiger fans love most about the one-of-a-kind Auburn tailgating experience.
Being with friends, it's almost like family. So it's like a family reunion every week.
Some fans even share their hospitality with the opposing team.
I always walk up to them, leave and invite them to eat with us. And tell them that we hope they have a good time, make sure they get into the game at least 30 minutes before the game starts so they experience all the really great things that happen, like the eagle flying, seeing the band come on the field. It's really no place like home.
Tailgate experience at Auburn is one of a kind. I highly recommend it to everybody that hasn't done it. I do it every chance I get. It's pain waking up at 5:30 in the morning to get out here, but it's totally worth it at the end of the day.
I always love, how coming here, especially how open and beautiful the campus is, and everybody's always friendly. And so I'm looking forward to having a great day here in Auburn today.
For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Casey Cooper.
Fans had mixed emotions about how the game would end, with Auburn playing the #2 ranked team in the nation. It was a battle to the very end. Auburn football made its season debut against Clemson Saturday night.
Fans have waited a long time for the start of the 2016 football season. Auburn and Clemson kicked off the season Saturday night under the lights in Jordan-Hare Stadium. The wait is over. Former Auburn quarterback Cam Newton was in the house, and Auburn quarterbacks were the storyline Saturday as Sean White, Jeremy Johnson, and John Franklin III all took snaps. Auburn junior defensive end Carl Lawson and the defense had a tough task stopping Heisman hopeful quarterback Deshaun Watson. Auburn got on the board first with a Daniel Carlson field goal. The defense did a solid job in the first half containing Watson and the potent Clemson offense. Senior Josh Holsey had an interception, and freshman Derek Brown recovered a fumble for Auburn. It wasn't all highlights from the defense, though, as Watson connected with wideout Mike Williams, torching the Auburn secondary for 174 yards. Clemson held on to a 10-3 lead at the half and held Auburn's offense to just 38 yards of total offense. In the second half, quarterback Sean White and the Auburn offense started to find a rhythm, throwing for 140 yards and finding Kyle Davis on a 43-yard bomb. Marcus Davis had 5 catches for 56 yards. Tony Stevens had this 16-yard reception, and sophomore Will Hastings had 3 catches for 29 yards. Fans were on the edge of their seats for the entire fourth quarter as Auburn attempted to make a comeback. Auburn scored their first touchdown of the season on this 9-yard Kerryon Johnson run. This wasn't enough, and Auburn came up a bit short as Wayne Gallman rushed for 123 yards and a touchdown. Clemson won by a final score of 19-13. In Auburn, J.J. Jackson, Eagle Eye Sports.
Auburn will be back in Jordan-Hare Stadium this Saturday to face the Red Wolves of Arkansas State at 6:30 p.m. A new season, a new policy. Hear what Auburn fans have to say about the clear bag policy.
With the new season comes new rules, not for the football players, but for the fans. This year, Auburn is implementing the clear bag policy. And believe it or not, a lot of fans are actually supporting the policy.
Don't really know much about it, but I feel like for safety measures, the bigger the bag, probably would be kind of frustrating.
Kind of a sad thing that our society has come down to is that you have to have these clear plastic bags in order to get it into a public place.
Oh, I think it's great. I mean, I'm not opposed to anything that affects my safety at that. Good thing with everything going on in the world, so that way you can actually see what's in the bag instead of having to open the bag. But I don't have any problems with it.
There will also be several checked bag areas and lockers fans can use to store their items and retrieve them after the games. Aaliyah Smith here with Eagle Eye Sports.
Just another reminder, the policy states that fans can bring in a clear bag up to 12 inches by 6 inches by 12 inches, a small clutch purse or a seat cushion. Up next, we'll get into our fantasy football competition. You're watching Tiger Tally on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Blitz. I'm your host, Meredith Brito. Here with me are a few members from the Tiger Tally Fantasy League. Micah, Erica, Casey, how are you all doing today?
Doing well, glad to be here.
Yeah, doing good. Excited football's back.
Yeah, I can't complain. A weekend full of football.
This week we'll kick off fantasy football for everyone. The 10 of us will be competing for bragging rights with the trophy also at stake. You will be able to follow our league on NFL.com by searching leagues and search Tiger Tally Fantasy to catch all the action. Now on to this week's matchups. The matchups include the Olivia's versus It's On Like Gronky Kong, Teamy McTeamface versus One Last Shiva Blast, Bill's Mafia versus My Team the Deckers, The Best Team versus Ed'll Me Long Time, Teenage Mutant Ninja Bortles versus Honey Funches of Oats. Casey, this week your opponent is predicted to score the most amount of points in the league. How do you think your team will fare?
You know what? I feel pretty confident in my team. Who cares if Teamy McTeamface has over 100 points? I'm confident that my team will win. I have veteran guys like Brina Marshall and Deshaun Jackson, and of course Eli Manning. Now that Peyton's out of the way, spotlight's on him. So you can't spell elite without Eli. So just remember that.
Going into week 1, how do the rest of you feel about the matchups?
You know, I feel really good about my matchup. You know, I'm facing the best team, but he's really not. And my Giants defense was a late pickup because I dropped the running back Duke Johnson to put them up, and I feel like they're going to have a great contest against the Dallas Cowboys this week.
Taking on Honey Funches of Oats, my boy JJ. I like my chances this week. Ezekiel Elliott, I think, is going to do a good job. He's only predicted 3 points, but I think behind that Dallas offensive line, I think he's going to have a really good game. And also they have me projected, I believe it's 5 points for Jordy Nelson. Your number one wide receiver comes back to possibly the best quarterback in the NFL. I think he's going to have more than 5 fantasy points. That's just me, though.
Tonight, the NFL season kicks off with the Super Bowl 50 rematch as the Carolina Panthers travel to Denver to face the Broncos. Who do you all have winning the game tonight?
Well, I definitely have the Panthers. I mean, who else?
I'm actually going to go for the Panthers because not only do I feel like the Panthers are a better team than the Broncos without Peyton Manning, also the best team that I'm facing in fantasy has the Broncos defense, so I'm going to need Cam to put up those points for me.
I'm going to go with the Broncos. I'm going to try and be the odd guy out here. Okay. I think Trevor Siemian, I've actually watched him play since high school. He's an Olympia Titan, Windermere, Florida person just like myself. So I'm going to be cheering for the Broncos. I think Trevor's going to do a great job and control the offense. He's not going to lose the game for them, and their defense is going to have to win the game, which, if you think back all the way to the Super Bowl, the defense won them the Super Bowl.
He did.
Yep. Moving on from NFL, we move to college football. This week was full of several upsets, including those against ranked teams. In your opinions, what was the biggest upset from this week?
Well, there's so many upsets, it's hard to choose, but if I had to choose, I guess probably LSU losing to Wisconsin. I mean, who predicts the SEC to do so bad in week 1 and to lose against Wisconsin, even though they have a great defense, but not looking good for Les Miles either.
You know, I actually have a couple big upsets that I think personally were the biggest, but I'm just going to go off the record and say that the Mississippi State-South Alabama game was definitely the biggest upset of the weekend. Just a Sun Belt team just to come into an SEC school at their home turf field and just to keep it close and to keep it down to the wire for a last-minute field goal that was knocked off the upright. It was just a crazy win for South Alabama, and even they got the celebration penalty, but it was totally worth it to them because that was just an amazing victory over Mississippi State.
Hashtag Klanga, right? For me, and I don't know if you can really classify it as an upset, but it was more of a solidifying them as a legitimate contender. I'm going to go with Houston over Oklahoma. I think they looked dominant the entire time. And the other one that I'm going to throw in there, even though they ended up winning, was Tennessee-App State. I personally was pulling for App State the whole time.
Same.
But at the end of the day, this is a Tennessee team that if Butch Jones doesn't get this team looking like they're going to win the East and contend for an SEC title against Alabama, who looked fantastic, surprise, surprise, his seat's going to get a lot hotter.
Yeah, and also, we could definitely say that the Clemson-Auburn game was a lot closer than any of us predicted. So definitely, I think that's an upset in itself, as Clemson, number 2 team in the nation, did not put up what we thought they were going to.
But not saying we believe in moral victories.
No.
Looking forward to week 2. Who do you have in Arkansas at TCU?
You know what? I'm going to have to stick with the SEC and go with Arkansas.
Arkansas, I'm going to pick over the Horned Frogs.
Go Frogs.
What about Virginia Tech at Tennessee, who almost lost to Appalachian State, as you mentioned?
You know what? I think this is going to be a really exciting game. They're expecting one of the largest attendance in college football history, with the game being at Bristol Motor Speedway. But you know what? I'm going to continue sticking with my SEC teams and go Tennessee.
You know, I'm actually, I agree with you there. Like, it's going to be a great matchup, but I'm going to have to go with Virginia Tech on this one. I think that they're going to pull it out.
Atmosphere and everything is going to be fantastic. It's going to be electric, like you guys mentioned. You know, Virginia Tech, to me, will never be the same when Beamer's not coaching. So Hokies won't be playing Beamer ball, and I think Tennessee is going to get this turned around. They're going to come ready to play this week and expect a better game from Dobbs.
On to the SEC matchup of Kentucky at Florida. Who do y'all have in that game?
Well, you know, last season Kentucky seemed like they were starting, you know, to become a competitor against some of the other SEC teams, but with their performance last week, I'm going to have to stick with Florida.
Definitely going Florida on this one. You know, their defense is still solid. Their defense single-handedly drove them to the SEC championship last season, and definitely they finally got that missing link of Luke Del Rio on the offensive side to put up some points. So definitely going Florida over Kentucky in this one.
I'm going to take the Gators in this one as well. One, I think they're the better team, and two, I would get in a lot of trouble if I did not pick Florida by some friends. I think, like you said, defensively, Florida's always going to be stout. Offensively, they seem to be getting, you know, at the second half of that game, they picked it up. Started off slow against UMass, but, you know, you saw it starting to click, and McElwain will get that one going. So Gators in this one.
What about South Carolina at Mississippi State?
Well, even though South Carolina struggled some last week, I'm going to have to go with Will Muschamp. He's going to have his team ready to defeat Mississippi State.
Definitely Mississippi State showing versus South Alabama last week. Definitely not putting my money on them. South Carolina and Will Muschamp, definitely picking them.
I'm a Muschamp supporter, have been since day one, even though he ripped my heart out last year when he left. I think in time he's going to build a good program at South Carolina. There's still a lot of missing pieces. But I think if there's a time to strike when the iron's hot, it's now for South Carolina, and they'll go 2-0 in the SEC.
What about Louisville at Syracuse?
You know what? I think Louisville's going to come out on top.
Louisville.
Cardinals. I mean, they got one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I mean, it's hard to go with Syracuse on that one.
Yeah. And last but not least, Arkansas State against Auburn.
Well, last week, Auburn looked pretty good, you know, keeping it close against the number 2 team in the nation. So, of course, I'm going to have to go with my Tigers.
Definitely going to choose Auburn. Their defense is just playing an incredible game that they producing. A lot of hard work over the offseason has definitely shown versus Clemson, and I just don't think Arkansas State can match up with Auburn's defense.
Definitely. I think, you know, we had a great turnover on our defensive staff, had a lot of good hires. Defense looked great. Going to have to keep it going, though, this next week. Arkansas State, I mean, a team that's given us trouble in the past. Gus was there for his first year. So I think Auburn will win. Spread's 18, though. Do you think Tigers win by more than 18? Do you think we cover or no? That's my question for you guys.
18's a little high.
18's just a little high.
Okay.
Just because with the quarterback situation, it's
Yes.
constantly changing. We don't know who's playing what.
Okay.
So.
All right. I'm with you guys. I'm with you on that one. I don't know if we cover.
Here's a recap of the games we predicted.
All right, that's all for Tiger Tally today. Tune in Mondays for AU Nation and Eagle Eye News. Keep up with all the latest in Auburn sports throughout the week by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Eagle Eye TV. I'm Erica Justiniano. Thanks for tuning in, and War Eagle.